For years, my wife's mother embezzled her by using her younger brothers and sisters in order to emotionally manipulate her about doing everything she promised. Her mother has 7 kids. My wife and her older brother are the only kids from my mother-in-law's first marriage. To say the very least, his stepfather was a wretched man. Nonetheless, he is the dad of their 5 younger stepbrothers and sisters, and also a moderately affluent landlord in their tiny hamlet in Mexico, near the United States-Mexico border. Hence, there isn't much they can do. I could pen down an entire essay about why my wife's dad is horrible, though I'll focus on the primary one. That man has no excuse for repeatedly harassing and hurting my wife in highly inappropriate ways since he met her at the age of 5 to 6 years old. At the age of about 10, he went very further. When my wife's mother discovered this 4 or 5 years afterward, she had the brilliant notion of just sending her daughter to reside with her grandmother in the U.S. My better half and her brother are basically from Mexico. However, their birthplace is the USA. My wifey and I met at our school's party. At that time, she was staying with her grandmother, and we married after some time. Worse luck, her grandmother is a particular type of cultural orthodox, duplicitous, bossy, and domineering, though not politically. When her grandmother discovered her relationship with me, she decided to break our relationship. She began to lie about me, saying that I was just using her and was about to ditch her after I used her up. She also said I was just dating her so she pays my college expenses, rather than giving in to her grandmother's demands. She stood firm and said no, so her grandmother cast her off, and then she started living with my household at my house. My wife's mother maintained scant communication with my spouse and periodically pressured her for cash while she lived with me. I want to mention this was frequently my spouse's step to send cash to her mom to assist her family with basic requirements such as eatables, clothes, and housewares. Her stepfather was a prick. All time, that worthless guy uses his kids as emotional captives via her mother to get emotional demands from my spouse. This includes convincing her to wish him a Merry Christmas or apologize to him on Facebook or Twitter. This kind of nonsense has continued for 1 year. However, one day my wife's mother got a reason to leave his home when a cheapskate tried to replace her with a young girl. During this time, my wife gave her mother even more funds to pay bills and expenditures till she could find work. Sadly, her time of freedom was brief, as her mother retreated to her husband's arms because of the kids. All this happened just in 7 weeks. Furthermore, this mother had decided to inform her beautiful daughter on her birthday that she is going back to that cheap man, and that ruined her birthday. My wife and her mother stopped speaking to each other for some time, but after some time my wife's mother began urging my spouse and her brother to start the procedure of gaining residency permits for her and their younger brothers and sisters. We were all convinced she desired them so her dad could obtain paperwork and enter the United States, but we went ahead with the procedure nevertheless, primarily for the sake of the children. Her stepfather and mother have also moved to our hometown. Even so, they haven't any right to interfere in our affairs as we are grown up. After all, it was there that my wife's stepdad met her mother, although he was soon expelled from the USA after spending some time in jail because of his involvement in violent acts. 2 years have passed in paperwork. This was taking so much time because, while she lived in America, my wife's mother was also entangled in some serious crimes, even though their mother's case was dismissed with the help of a petition because it occurred back ago. Sadly, rather than being thankful for her kids' efforts and the money they put into that work, she became increasingly frustrated that this procedure was consuming so much time. She didn't care how hard his son was paying the legal expenses. She just knows that she had done a favor to their kids by giving birth to them. After just that one issue, my mother-in-law started saying how ungracious her children were and that my wife's older brother was a jerk and a liar like his stepfather. Even after this incident, they keep going through the motions just for their younger brothers and sisters. This happened only after my wife's brother's financial situation deteriorated. My wife's mother was so miserable that she contacted her cousin's sister to collect all the important documents from her son and daughter. That was a huge surprise for us. I and my spouse had not any clue that she had any relatives in this city. My wife's only blood relatives up to that time were her mother and her toxic grandmother. My wife's mother's cousin, on the other hand, seemed more typical and decent. She asked us to come to her home, where my wife's grandmother's siblings and their kids welcome us. It was incredible to witness how anxious they were to have her back in their family. They may exchange tales and laughs that she had not heard since she left the U.S. I am excited that she will truly get the family she long desired. My wife's aunt advised us to give her all the documents on the stipulation that my wife's mother does not ask for any other favors in the future. My wife's mother has not approached us until, even not on my wife's birthday. That is undoubtedly the best thing. My wife's aunt and family were pressuring her to approach her real father, who also resides in this city with his new family, so that she might know the actual story behind her father and mother's divorce. They think that there are things behind the divorce of her father and mother that should be cleared. They also told her about her grandmother's lies and how her grandmother separated her father and mother. I was not shocked after hearing about her grandmother's lies because I know that toxic lady. But she is not in a rush to contact her father. She just texts him and waits for his response. Admittedly, he never approached her as he got a new family. Maybe everything is going to be right for us. My wife's mother is so toxic to her that she just wants to come back to this country with her cheap husband, using her brother and sisters as an excuse. Now I hope she never tries to approach her.